All right, good afternoon, good morning to you all who have joined us today. Welcome to this second webinar in our hydrogen workstream. So those webinars, to remind you of the context, they are, the objective is really to try and understand some projects, sometimes a cluster, sometimes a single project, sometimes a series of projects, to try and see what makes those early hydrogen projects work. What are maybe the new business models that are important for the success of hydrogen? How can we overcome any barriers that may still be in place, and what are the learnings basically for other companies? So warm welcome. I'm just gonna cover quickly. Can everyone, or can someone confirm you can see the screen actually, please?
Yes, we can.
All good, perfect. Thank you. Quick antitrust statement reminder to please avoid any discussion that would be a competitively sensitive topic. If that happens and I am not stopping the conversation, please feel free to intervene. I would very much appreciate that. So thank you for your help there. A warm welcome today to our presenters for this exciting project called Power to Green Green Hydrogen in Majorca. So we have from Acciona, Enrique Iriarte, who's Director of Technical Innovation Projects. We also have Asun Padros Raskin, who's Innovation Projects Manager. We have Miguel Meireta Vincent. I'm sorry, I am butchering all of your names, I know that. Who's Business Diversification Director at Redexis, and myself as the facilitator. I just also want to say big thanks to Andrea Real from Acciona for helping in setting up this this webinar. So a lot of thanks. Really interesting project, I think, because this one really looks at how do you power as many end users as possible in a closed island ecosystem. So hopefully lots of learning for systems transformation and for change, and to really look at how a small island ecosystem can be used as a lab for a wider energy transition. So really interesting, really excited to have all of you guys in there. And I suggest that you take a second to introduce yourselves at the start of your sections. The way the webinar is going to run today, so we're going to have presentations for the first half or so. Then we're going to have a little bit of time for some clarification questions, just really short questions that are needed to understand what's been presented. And then we'll have breakout groups. We will have 3 breakout rooms that I'm going to show you a bit later. And people will be able to choose the topic that suits them the most. So hopefully we have a good spread. Then we come back in plenary. We have a quick feedback of the main points that were discussed in the breakouts. And then I will ask you for a little bit of Menti feedback, and we'll close this webinar. So let's start with the presentations. We're going to start with the introduction of the whole project from Enrique, and then go into some of the end use cases. Enrique, over to you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Control as well.
Okay, this is Enrique Iriarte from Acciona Energy. I'm the head of innovation projects in Acciona, and I'm going to speak to you about this project in Majorca, green hydrogen project. So next, please.
You should be able to control the slides as well, Enrique.
Okay, thanks. So just I can't, Caroline, so.
Never mind.
Okay.
Let's get started. Then.
Just a short introduction about Acciona. Acciona is a world-leading pure renewable operator, 100% of renewables, not other kind of energy. So we are a unique multi-technology platform, leading as pure operator in renewable energy. So our portfolio is nowadays 11 gigawatts total capacity. It's a vertical integrated model because we are also, for example, manufacturing wind turbines. during 30 years of experience in the 5 continents, 16 countries, 5 different renewable technologies also sometimes hybridized with storage, an availability of 97%, and with very, very small incidents and solved remotely. So Acciona in general is a best-in-class development capabilities and pioneer innovative solutions. Moreover, it's not only renewable energy, but also in environmental, social, and governance, our credentials are unrivaled. No? In Spain, that is our origin, we are the top 100% renewable energy supplier, and in the world, the 4th largest global developer by corporate PPA signed. So next, please. Just around the countries and the continents we are, mainly because our start is in Spain. There are more or less 50% of the capacity, but also more than 1 gigawatt in North America with wind and sun and concentrate solar power projects. Also in Mexico as the 2nd country in America, also in Chile and growing a lot in Chile, in the rest of Europe, in some countries and north of Africa, also in Australia with wind farms and in the following months also PV plants, in India and in South Africa. Next, please. Just a view of our technologies. We are operating more than 6,000 turbines from different original equipment manufacturers, from 11 different manufacturers. Leading international player in PV since the first plant 20 years ago in Spain. Also floating PV plants, also hydroelectrical plants with pumped hydro, just as another way of storage, concentrate solar power, biomass plant, hybridization between wind farms and PV plants, storage. We are pioneer in put a wind farm and a PV plant with batteries, with lithium-ion batteries. Also, we are starting with hydrogen projects. So this is today I'm going to speak about the Majorca project, but also we signed this year a memorandum of understanding with an American company, with Plug Power, to create a joint venture to develop hydrogen projects in Spain. Also in offshore wind, in distributed generation, smart charging for electrical vehicles. So as you can see, with 100% renewable energies in mainly all of the technologies and all of the innovative business in relation with. Next, please. All these assets we are managing from different remote control centers. And this is something also very, very important for us, because we are managing not only our assets, we are managing more than 15 gigawatts, so for other clients with a very good performance. For example, we are solving with robots the problems that there are in a wind farm or in a PV plant around the world, directly from this remote control center. So for sure is each year more digitalized, and the availability of our assets is bigger than 97%. Next, please. About the last year, no? Since the beginning of our company, we integrate the wind turbine technology 21 years ago. We started in Spain with the PV community plants. Other issue was the first company to sign a PPA, 100% PPA for other big company, for example, as Google in Chile or Apple, some different clients of Acciona. the first concentrated solar power after 20 years of any new plant in the desert of Nevada, United States. Also giving to the grid ancillary service from wind power. So this is something that people say, okay, but the renewables depend of the wind and depend of the sun. Yes, but also we can manage these technologies to provide ancillary services to the grid. More with batteries. So there is other project with batteries. Also, we create an app, a platform using blockchain technology 3 years ago to ensure the renewable origin of our energy and directly to the client, so we can ensure that the energy are consuming the clients is from one specific asset at in real time. And more examples of our pioneering technology is the first PV floating in Spain, the hybridization of solar panels in the tower of a wind turbine, and the following ones for sure will be this year the green hydrogen hub in Majorca, and more projects about the green hydrogen in our relation with Plug Power. Next, please. And now I'm going to speak about the hydrogen. So the hydrogen in general is not an energy, it's a vector. So we need renewables to produce hydrogen, and the hydrogen, probably most of you know that we can use the hydrogen as fuel for trucks, plane, as power to generate other time electricity, heat in the different industries that now are burning natural gas or carbon mainly, also energy for buildings, residential, commercial, but also in other industries as feedstock for metallurgy, food, steels, as the component for ammonia or synthetic fuels. So hydrogen is something not new. But now, this year, 2021, is for sure the year to start economy scale with money from European funds, from American funds, all the our own strategies. We think that is the momentum to invest in hydrogen, to start with this project as Majorca, and in the following years, hydrogen for sure will be part of the solution for decarbonization of the world or the economy. Next, please. Okay, in our case, we are only speaking about green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is zero emissions, and we only need renewable energy, water, and is no contamination. There is other kind of hydrogens, as the blue hydrogen, with low emissions, but with emissions, and the conventional hydrogen or green hydrogen is from fossil fuels. So in that case, we only speak about green hydrogen. Next, please. Advantages of the hydrogen. So is something to say the same. Decarbonization, the economy, versatility.
Enrique, sorry, if I may, just to let you know that yeah, we are a bit short on time, I think, if you want to.
Okay, I'm going to accelerate. Thanks.
Thank you.
So next, please, because this is more or less the same than before. And the important is the project of Majorca. Next, please. Okay, this is the information, the main information of Majorca. The total investment is 50 million euros to produce at least 300 tons per year of green hydrogen. The energy, the electricity for this project, we are going to develop and to build. We are going to start next month in July, 2 PV plants of 15 megawatts to start the operation at the end of this year. The hydrogen plant is a 2.5 megawatt PM electrolyzer. So at the end, we are going to avoid 16,000 tons of carbon, and also it's important to say that this project has a European grant of the fuel cell joint undertaking of 10 million euros. Next, please. Okay, the important issues of this project is an ecosystem in an island, so it is possible to replicate this project in other islands. Will be the first injection into the natural gas grid or network, as Miguel Mairata from Redexis is going to explain. And also is going to be the first network for the exclusive use of hydrogen in Spain. Next, please. Okay, we are thinking about this project in Spain, in Majorca Island, in Balearic Island, but also CEMEX and IDAE. The project is also due to this European consortium, 26 more agents, but mainly are these four, and for sure also Redexis. Next, please. This is only where is the project, so it's in the center of the island, in a old concrete plant of CEMEX. So this project starts using the same facilities of an old industry and to change part of this industry in a green industry. Yeah. Will be around of the island of Majorca, mainly in Palma de Mallorca. Next, please. Next, please, Caroline. Okay. Next, please. Okay, okay. This is the scheme of the project. So with two PV plants, one is directly connected to the grid, and the other is directly connected to the electrolyzer. We are going to produce enough electricity for the electrolyzer and also to sell electricity to the grid. The hydrogen we are going to produce have two ways to put in the clients. One is through the injection into the pipe of Redexis. Redexis now is transporting and distributing the natural gas in car. So we are going to put a small percentage of hydrogen between 2 and 5% in this natural gas grid. So all the customers in Majorca are going to use a small part of hydrogen. And other uses are through the truck that at the beginning are going to transport the hydrogen is 5 buses of the public transport in Majorca, but for example, in a sports center in one small village in Lloseta. Other, for example, in the port of Majorca to generate electricity and avoid emissions in the port, as the port in Palma de Mallorca is in the middle of the city, so it's important. And also generate of electricity and heat for hotels in Palma to reduce the consumption of electricity from the grid, and other, for example, natural gas to produce the hot for the pools or the water in the rooms. Next, please. Okay, this is one PV plant. It's a conventional PV plant in Petra, in the middle of Majorca. Next, please. The other is in Lloseta. So this second PV plant is directly connected to the hydrogen plant. Next, please. And this is the hydrogen plant. You can see the scene of the plant. The blue color is a water a water reserve, no? Because we need water, remember, water and electricity. And the red boxes are the electrolyzer. So something important, speaking about hydrogen, is to say that it's not a complex industry because the inputs are only water. We need to purify the water and electricity, renewable electricity. But the hydrogen plant is a container, a 40 feet container. No more complicated than that. It's not a very complex chemical industry or other. No, it's very simple. From this container is two outputs, one output of hydrogen, another output of oxygen. And the hydrogen we are going to containerize with pressure and put in the special trucks to send to Palma de Mallorca, to these fuel cells or others. Next, please. Next. Who is going to use the hydrogen? Lloseta fuel cell, natural gas grid in Palma de Mallorca and from Palma de Mallorca for all the island. Hotels, Port of Palma, and maybe rental cars or cars or small vans to distribute foods. Next one. Okay, the main consumption of the hydrogen will be into the natural gas grid, and this is very good because it's flexible, because we can put into the natural gas a variable percentage, so depending of the consumption or the fuel cells of the other customers, we can manage how much hydrogen put onto the grid or put directly to the clients. Next, please. Okay, another innovative solution for this project is that using blockchain technology, this is the first project where nowadays is not any regulation about how to certify the origin of the green hydrogen. At the molecule of hydrogen does no matter of the origin. You can distinguish if it's green, blue, or gray. No, in fact, it's a hydrogen molecule. But with this technology, with this green hydrogen chain, we can control and certify that the electricity we are using to produce hydrogen is green, is renewable. The hydrogen we are producing in this electrolyzer in Lloseta in Mallorca is green because 100% of the electricity we are using is green. And we can share this information with our clients to ensure that all the kilograms they are using are green hydrogen and produce it in Lloseta hydrogen plant, and all the 300 tons we are producing throughout the year, we are assigning to different clients. Next, please. This technology permits us to tokenize emission of the hydrogen produced from the hydrogen plant to the customer. So, because we are putting this information in a blockchain platform, is this information we can ensure and is auditable, the information for all the clients. Next, please. Okay, the main components in the project is the container of the electrolyzer is a very simple device. Compressors, the hydrogen from the electrolyzer output is 30 bars, and we are going to increase the pressure to 330 bars. The transport is used by tube trailers, and also we will be a hydrogen station to permit the 5 fuel cell electrical buses from the company in Palma de Mallorca to use hydrogen instead of diesel or instead of natural gas. Next, please. Next. Okay, just a small information about the commercial structure of the project, because in that case, one thing is to sell kilograms or kilowatt hour of energy, in that case, energy storage in the hydrogen. And other thing is to sell to clients directly the certificates of origin of this energy that permit our clients to decarbonize his business. Next, please. Next, and now is the turn to Miguel. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Thank you, Caroline, for moderating this webinar, and thank you to the World Business Council for Sustainable Development for letting us introduce you how we are deploying, permitting, and licensing this infrastructure in Majorca. Next, please, Caroline. Well, Redexis is an infrastructure company. We own infrastructures on which we develop renewable gases and to operate all these infrastructures in the whole territory, in whole Spain. Since 2010, we have invested more than 1,400 million euros in making our network grow and the number of municipalities that are served with natural gas and LPG. And we distribute last year more than 36 terawatt hour of natural gas. We own more than 11,300 kilometers of networks in whole Spain, and we deliver and we serve natural gas to more than 720,000 end users that consume natural gas that goes through our grids. Next, please. In the Balearic Islands, both in Majorca and Ibiza, we operate. In Majorca, we operate more than 1,250 kilometers of natural gas network, and we make the natural gas accessible to more than 850,000 citizens, industries, and business. We have more than 123,000 homes and business connected to our grids in Majorca. We distributed last year more than 1,000 gigawatt hour, 1 terawatt hour a year of natural gas in 37 municipalities around the island. And we have those 120 and 250 kilometers of transmission and distribution networks in the Balearic Island, where we operate 5 transportation gas pipelines. Next, please. You can see in this map in green the gas pipelines, the transmission pipelines we have in operation in Majorca, both in Majorca and Ibiza. And you can also see the municipalities that are authorized and with natural gas service, okay, and both in Palma Bay, Alcudia Bay, and in the east of the island of Majorca. Next, please. And talking about the project, as Enrique presented before, you can see here the scheme of the project. And in this project, Redexis will deploy hydrogen transportation hydroduct with 100% of hydrogen, which will be the first one to be deployed in Spain. There's no infrastructures to deliver 100% hydrogen for public uses in public plots, in public lands. And this will be the first to be done in Spain. And we also will deploy a renewable hydrogen injection point into the gas pipeline network in Mallorca, doing the engineering, permitting, construction, commissioning, and operation. And we will also deliver 10 fuel cell hydrogen electric vehicles using hydrogen for distribution companies, so a logistic company that will operate those 10 fuel cell cars and vans. And we will also install CHP, cogeneration, based on a fuel cell in a hotel in Palma de Mallorca. And this also will be the first experience in Spain with this kind of technology. Next, please. Here you can see a general facility scheme of the hydroduct to be deployed in Mallorca. Enagas, Acciona, Cemex, and IDAE, as mentioned before, Enrique, they will produce hydrogen in Lloseta with a capability of production of more than 757 tons per year of hydrogen at the end of the project. Okay, this hydrogen will be bottled and loaded in tube trailers and will be delivered to the EMT, the municipality transport company in Palma de Mallorca, and will be injected also into the hydroduct with a head position that will receive the hydrogen with a control pressure, with a regulation and measurement station, with authorization and a control and monitoring system. This hydrogen will be sent close to the transport pipeline that we have in operation in Palma de Mallorca, which is at the point where the flow of natural gas is the biggest one in the whole island. And this will be a steel 4 inches pipeline with a maximum flow of 2,500 cubic meters per hour of hydrogen. And this hydrogen will be injected into the gas grid, into the transportation gas grid, with a hydrogen measurement for sure, because we only can inject 2% of the instant flow of natural gas in the transmission pipeline. So we will need a regulation and measurement of hydrogen. We will deploy the infrastructure to be able to blend hydrogen with natural gas at the maximum of 20%. But at this moment, due to the Spanish regulation, we will only be able to mix the hydrogen with natural gas at 2%. So we'll need an injection control mix and a quality control. Next, please. Let me talk to you about the administrative processing path, which has been very, very difficult. Next, please. In Spain, there is no specific regulation of hydrogen. So when we tried to start the permitting and licensing process with the regional administration, we had to agree with them how to proceed with the permitting process. And we saw that in accordance of the Article 30.25 of the Balearic Autonomy Statute, the autonomous community, they have the exclusive competence for the installation for production, distribution, and transmission of energy infrastructures. So we saw that they were the ones to allow us to deploy the infrastructure, but we have to act on the transmission pipeline, which has to be processed by the General State Administration. So we have two permitting processes: one with the autonomous community, with Balearic regional government, and another one with the General State Administration. Next, please, Caroline. Well, here you have a lot of information. you will be able to read this information. I don't want to spend a lot of time with these considerations, because at the very end, what we saw with the administration is that as there is no clear regulation regarding hydrogen pipelines processing procedure, because there's no specific law for hydrogen in Spain, we understood that the project won't need the administrative authorization of the regional government, and won't need an authorization for the infrastructure execution, but the public utility declaration, what we in Spain we call DUP, Declaración de Utilidad Pública in Spanish, will be needed, because if you go to next slide, please, Caroline, will be needed because the public utility is necessary for the infrastructure to benefit from the forced expropriation regime that can be requested and granted under Articles 2 and 3 of the Law 13, 2012, of urgent measurements for economic activation in matter of industry energy. With this public utility, the towers of the measurement equipment necessary for the evaluation of renewable energy resources can be declared of public utility, and according to their energy interest, determine utilization facilities such as solar and thermosolar, biomass, cogeneration, and geothermal and energy distribution networks. As a continuation of this, the Article 3 details the declaration of utility of the public utility application process, which concludes that the resolution of the competent general director in matter of industry and energy. So, if you go to next, please, what we saw is that the only thing we need to be able to deploy the hydrogen pipelines at this point is in Spain, as there is no specific regulation regarding the hydrogen, is the declaration of public utility, which will, with the expropriations process, it will take us over 9 months to complete the licensing process. We also will need the building licenses. In principle, they overlap and are linked to obtain the public utility declaration for projects. And we think that it will take us over 6 months, because we have a lot of experience in having building licenses, and the permits of affected organizations. In principle, they will overlap as well, and are linked to obtaining the utility public declaration, and it will also take over 6 months. So we think that we can be very fast obtaining the permits for deploying the infrastructure, and then build it, because what we want is that at the moment that Acciona and Redexis, Cemex, IDAE, they have ready to operate the electrolyzer, we will have ready to operate the hydroduct and the injection point to be able to sell the hydrogen to all the consumers in Majorca. If you go next, Caroline, I think that's all. I promised you yesterday that I would do it in 10 minutes. I don't know if I have kept my promise or not, but I think I have been very, very fast.
You can see my smile here, so you know, I think that's a holiday in Mallorca for me.
Okay, okay, but only for 1 or 2 minutes, no more than that.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Miguel.
Thank you.
And Enrique so far. We're gonna go with the an end-use case in the public building. I think Asun has just joined us to do that.
Thank you all.
Hi.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. You can go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to present a use case that will be implemented in the hydrogen project in Majorca. that is related to a substitution of diesel group with a hydrogen fuel cell. The municipality is Lloseta, that it's located in the middle of Majorca island and has around 6,000 population. In particular, the replacement will be done in a sports center that is a public building of the town hall of Lloseta. One of the most important industries are tourism and agriculture. And so this will be a very representative and known use case of the hydrogen in a public building. And this, in particular, this sports center counts with many facilities, but being the most energy demanding, the indoor pool with heat and electricity comes from a diesel generator group. In order to reduce emission and gain expertise in hydrogen and also to contribute to the decarbonization goals, the diesel group will be replaced with a 25 kilowatts fuel cell. Next slide, Caroline, please. Okay, so as I have commented, the diesel group will be replaced, and now the heating demanding is around 2,200,000 kilowatts hour per year, which is the equivalent. We have sized the fuel cell needed, and it's required 25 kilowatts of a fuel cell. So the main advantage of switching from diesel to green hydrogen is that with that change, we achieve a zero greenhouse gases emissions that, as you know, is one of the policies that the European Union was to achieve. And nowadays, the price of the electricity, the ton of CO2 emitted to the atmosphere is increasing a lot from 30 euros per ton in last year to 60 euros per ton, sorry, nowadays, and increasing. And it's expected that this price will continue increasing till hundreds of euros per ton. So it has also an economical impact from that side. So while diesel has more energy density per kilo, the efficiency of the fuel cell is lower and is half of the diesel group, and so it's necessary almost the same amount of tons of volume of the gases required, 23 and 16 respectively. The cost of hydrogen is around for this project. It will decrease in the future, in the close future, but it's expected to be around 10 euros per kilo. That it's almost 8 times the cost of diesel, having a cost of 20,000 euros and 163,000 euros respectively. However, the cost emission, as I have mentioned before, from the diesel group, is also compensates this increase. So it's expected that this situation, although as all you can see is not economically feasible today, will change in the future. Next slide, Caroline, please. Okay. Can you hear me? No.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So here you can see how the hydrogen will be transported from the hydrogen electrolyzer place that is located 2 kilometers from the Lloseta Sports Center. And this hydrogen will be transported compressed and by truck to the Lloseta Sports Center. Due to now there are no pipelines available. We have to achieve more off-takers there in a future if we want to build a pipeline. And so the cylinders will be transported. You can here see the cylinders of hydrogen directly to the fuel cell to be consumed while needed. There you can see the fuel cell on the left part of the slide, and to be consumed by the fuel cell, and similar to the one in the image below, to produce both heat and electricity for Lloseta Sports Centers. And this is the case, and I wanted to present, and thank you for your attention.
Super, thank you very much, Acciona. I think next we're going back to Enrique to talk about social impact management. Enrique, over to you.
Okay, next please. In Acciona, in all of our projects in the 5 continents, and normally there is not only to create energy project, but also our intention is to stay in the places for a long time. So social impact management is important for us, and the project have we need to have also positive impact, not only with green and renewable energy, but also with other different actions. In that case, in Majorca, in this community, we are going to do, for example, there is in the places we are going to put the PV plant, there are all trees, so we are going to transplant. For other places, we are going to take care of the vegetation in these PV fields using, for example, in a project for young people that want to enter in this business, or for example with sheep. And also an agreement with the agriculture department of Balearic government, we are going to develop an innovative project of agrovoltaics. Agrovoltaics is the acronym of agro plus photovoltaic. So have no sense to use the land for energy and rest this land for other traditional uses. So in that case, we are going to do this. Next, please. Yes, this is only just to speak about the specific trees that are in Majorca. Sometimes are very old or endemic trees, so we are going to take care and also donate to the municipalities for public gardens, the trees or others. Next, please. The project will be, and moreover is a necessity to do compatible the energy projects with the use of the land for cultivation, for sheep and other kind of agro in general project. Next, please. And why not to use the land for both to produce electricity, but also to maintain the use for agricultural use. Next, please. And that's all.
All right, thank you very much, Enrique. I'm going to make a suggestion here. Because we are running a little bit late on the schedule, and also because the group is small, I'm going to suggest that instead of doing the breakout groups, we spend some quality time doing question and answers. And during that time, we can explore some of the topics that we had initially planned, such as scaling up replication, hydrogen as energy storage, or regulatory enablers. So if I can see people nodding, so if you guys are okay with that, then let's just spend the spend a good 25 minutes or more, 30 minutes in Q&A and have a good discussion within the full group here of 20 people.
It's okay from my side.
Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Super. All right, who wants to start with questions? You can either type them in the chat box or just, feel free to unmute and ask your question directly.
First of all, I would like to thank the Acciona team for presenting, and Caroline and WBCSD for putting this together. Quite impressive project. So thank you very much. This is Gloria Margames from Dow. So I can see, it's a lot of information to digest what you shared for sure, but it seems that you took care of pretty much all aspects of the projects, and I know Acciona, it's a company with a lot of experience doing energy projects. That's probably why you did such an amazing job. Would you see this project happening, that's my question, without the subsidy and the government support? Okay. Would you think it would have been profitable to make it happen?
Yeah. The question is clear, and the answer also. Now, in 2021, the green hydrogen is not profitable. Can compete with natural gas or can compete with diesel. Remember the example of Asun told to us about the use of green hydrogen instead of diesel, or use of green hydrogen instead of diesel in buses, or instead of natural gas for other heat uses. No, that project there is some subsidies from Europe and also from different Spanish organizations, and even with these subsidies, is a innovation project, is a pilot project. No, is big because still the hydrogen projects are not very big, but it's the first step to get this profitability during the following 10 years. So today, the quantity, the number of the percentage of subsidies need the hydrogen is very big, mainly for two different things. One is economy of scale, so there is no enough factories of electrolyzers, and there is not something that companies are manufacturing as for example, cars, a lot of units and a lot of megawatts every day. So we need to push for these projects to increase and to accelerate this, and also put on for the of the electrolyzers, to increase the efficiency of the PV plants, for example, and in the following years is something that maybe or probably occurs done the same with the PV technology. Remember that the PV technology 25 years ago was very, very expensive due to the subsidies in the early beginning of the PV plants. Now PV technology is still economically than other technologies, no, as natural gas or carbon or others. My opinion, and this is a personal opinion, is that now in the hydrogen we are more or less than in the technology 20 or 25 years ago.
Thanks so much, Enrique.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gloria. Other questions from the group?
One question for me, Annette Nienhaus from ERM. So from the first idea, how long did it take until the stage where you're in now? So what was the time span? And I don't know if you remember who had the first idea. So what was the first spark basically that triggered that project?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes, it was actually two questions.
Yeah,
so
for
one
me,
question
maybe,
was
maybe write in the chat because the sound is not good.
Okay.
I think Enrique, one of the questions was who took the first idea of the project? Who was the first developer of the project?
And how long ago was that? Like, how long did it take you to get from that first idea to the stage you're at now, which is you're going to start construction this summer?
Okay. In that case, well, the question can ask or me or Miguel. The project starts in that case
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years, yes, 2.5 years, because in the CEMEX facility in an industrial area, there is a reduction of the business, and the Balearic government is looking for a new technology, a new industry to put in the same place. 2.5 years. So after a first agreement between the government and the private companies as Enagas, Redexis, and Acciona, we started the promotion of the project 1.5 or 2 years ago, and now we are finishing the authorization to start the construction of the PV plants in the following weeks, and the hydrogen plant in September of this year. So more or less is the 2 years, more or less.
Quite impressive. It's a very fast development.
Yeah, yes.
We are easy to work companies. So when all the companies have the same goal, it's easy to work. And even if the administration, the regional administration, has the same goal, it's easy to do. Well, and then there's also a big support for this project was that this project was selected by the Fuel Cell Hydrogen Joint Undertaking to be granted with 10 million euros to start deploying infrastructures in Majorca to create this hydrogen hub in the island. So all the stakeholders, we are all very focused on deploying the infrastructures and start delivering hydrogen to the end users to decarbonize the island.
Thank you.
I see, Caroline, in the chat that there's a question, I think, for me regarding the blending part.
Yeah, indeed. So if the regulation allows for a higher percentage of blending, I think you mentioned, well, at the moment you're blocked at 2%, but you could say you could do 20.
As I have mentioned in my presentation, there's no specific regulation regarding hydrogen in Spain. We have regulation regarding natural gas distribution and transmission pipelines, and there's a Spanish we say gestor técnico del sistema, which is the technician manager of the gas system in Spain, which is Enagas at this moment, and there are specific regulations regarding which components can be in the natural gas that has to be served and delivered to the end users. And in that regulation, it says that the natural gas can't have more than 5% of hydrogen, but there is also another regulation that says that if there are end users that use natural gas as natural gas for vehicles, those vehicles cannot emit more than 2% of hydrogen in mixed with the natural gas. Because of the natural gas tanks of the vehicles. as we have natural gas for vehicles in stations in Majorca, we cannot inject at this point more than 2% of the instant natural gas flow in this transmission pipeline. That's why we have this limitation, but the end users of natural gas, they will be able to purchase certificates of origin of green hydrogen, and to buy that green hydrogen with those guarantees of origin. So a hotel, for example, in Alcudia, in the north of Majorca, will be able to buy 20%, 50%, 100% of his natural gas consumption in guarantees of origin of green hydrogen. So they can have all the benefits of the decarbonization of the hydrogen by purchasing those guarantees of origin of the hydrogen that has been injected into the gas grid, because as much hydrogen we inject into the gas grid, the less natural gas that comes to the island through the submarine pipeline that feeds the island of Majorca. So what we have to do and what we are doing from Redexis is developing these injection points of renewable gases, both biomethane and hydrogen and green hydrogen, to decarbonize all the uses of natural gas to the consumers that are connected to our gas grids. And that's why this project is very, very important for the island, because with this we can start decarbonizing the thermal uses of the natural gas.
So maybe a follow-up question on that, Miguel, on the blending question. We've had some very intense discussions in the working group about blending and whether this was an optimal use of hydrogen in the long term. I think you or Enrique explained in the presentation that in the short term it's very useful because you can put as much or as little hydrogen in the system as you want. So it's a very good flexible off-taker. Yeah. In the long term, do you see a role for blending hydrogen in natural gas? Do you see maybe 100% hydrogen use, or how do you see that evolve?
Okay. In the future is clear that we want to reduce the emissions, and every year the price of the CO2 emissions is more expensive, and the target of different countries, the target of Europe, is to completely avoid the emissions or be neutral. We need to replace as much as possible the percentage of natural gas into the pipes. No, due to regulations and due to technical issues, now as Miguel explained, it's possible to put this 5%. There is people or companies saying that is possible in some cases 30%. So the future we'll see, but it's more a problem of price than a technical problem. With no very big investment, I think it's possible to put 100% of hydrogen into the pipes, and there is technology of different technologies in the industries to use 100% of hydrogen. So it's more a question of put a price for the companies that are producing CO2 or producing carbon than a technical issue.
May I make a comment, Caroline?
Sure.
Yeah, in Spain, and I think that it will be the same in some other countries, the energy consumption, the final energy consumption, 70%, close to 70% of the final energy consumption is related to natural gas and petroleum and diesel and hydrocarbons products for transportation, maritime transportation, airplanes, car transportation, trucks, and railway. And then close to 30% of the consumption is for industries and business and homes, the homes where we live, for the heat and for the hot water and for cooking. Some of those consumptions can be decarbonized using different sources of energy, and in this case, the hydrogen and the biomethane injected into the gas grids will permit to the industries and to the businesses to decarbonize their natural gas consumptions without changing their existing technologies that in some cases are still in the process of amortization, because a new industry, for example, the tiles production industry, ceramic industry, they use a lot of energy for heating, and it's very difficult for them to change the way they produce their goods and their services. But if they keep using the existing infrastructures, by using renewable gases without emissions of CO2, there's a way to connect the electric sector with the gas sector by injecting the hydrogen, the green hydrogen, into the gas grid. So we can make the transition possible, acting not only in the electric sector, but also in the thermal use of the energy sector, like industry, like trucking, like ships, airplanes, and all the mobility sector in all in all the sectors of the mobility. So I think it's very important to keep on investigating in the way to produce the hydrogen at lower price, because as Enrique said before, I think in a couple of years, in probably 5, 6, 10, 7 years, we will see the hydrogen at producing cost to be competitive against the natural gas and against other hydrocarbon products. And I think that's my view.
Indeed, thanks, Miguel. A follow-up question on that, and then we'll go to Patrick's question. But again, back to blending and using end uses for this hydrogen. When it comes to the users, especially for example in households, what's been the public perception so far? Is there an awareness, for example, of the benefits, but also the safety risks associated with that hydrogen? What has been done here to sort of educate and take into account those concerns, if any?
I think that all the companies will need to educate to the consumers that are connected to our infrastructures. That's for sure. I don't see specific risks in terms of security. I see that exactly the same risks that I see with natural gas or with electricity. If the natural gas goes through the pipelines, there's no problem. If the hydrogen goes through the pipelines, there's no problem. And if the natural gas and the hydrogen are used in the proper way, there's no problem. It's like the electricity. If you touch a wire, you will have a discharge. So it's dangerous. And if you break a gas pipeline, it will also be dangerous. So I think that's why the companies like Acciona and Redexis, we manage these kinds of infrastructures with a high level of security, a high level of technology and of knowledge to operate these infrastructures. But I think that we will have to educate to the end users just to let them know that there are new opportunities to reduce the emissions in the short time.
Yeah, I think it's more a question of information than a question of that the hydrogen is a risky technology or is something different or is going to explode. No, it's more to this exercise, to this not training. It's just to explain that we are using gases into recipes with pressure since 100 years. We are using things more complicated and with more risk than hydrogen. Even the hydrogen have less risk in some situations than a car with gasoline or with diesel. So it's more to inform to the people that, okay, hydrogen is pressure, so take care, it's pressure. But it's more a question of we need to start and to show and question of time, information and time, because it's not something especially risky or dangerous.
I think there's another important question, Caroline. In Majorca, since 1996, we have distributed different kind of gases, like that we call city gas from naphtha cracking. And then we adopt the propane air, then natural gas, then LPG, now hydrogen and biomethane. So the population in Majorca, they don't have problem in changing the gas that we are deliver them through the pipelines we have in operation. So that's not the problem. We have to inform them that a new technology is on the air, and with this new technology, there are more benefits that the end users can enjoy. Like decarbonization, low emissions, sustainable tourism destination. So I think I see a lot of benefits for the industries and for the companies in Majorca.
Okay, I see other question of Patrick about the wish list of improvement technologies, etc. No, for the project. So in that case. I think that the technologies of electrolyzer exit is clear that instead of a 40% of efficiency, the electrolyzer has 50% or 60% is better. The same in the fuel cells, no? The technology is going to improve and we are going to increase this efficiency as the same as the PV modules has been increasing the efficiency from 10, 12 to 20 and to 30, no? But also it's important to say that when we calculate the cost of the hydrogen, more or less 50% of this cost is the price of the electricity. So in that case, it's the price of the renewable electricity. In that case, wind electricity PV plants is decreasing the prices. There is enough competitors around the world, and this energy is reducing the prices. So this is something with hydrogen or without hydrogen we are doing in companies as Acciona, no? And about the other components, I say the same at the beginning. Is more a question of investment in gigafactories of electrolyzers than the Tesla gigafactories, but in that case, the hydrogen, the electrolyzer gigafactory to get a better price because the number of megawatts of electrolyzers. So it's more a question than this. The same in the compressors. The specific compressor is not a new technology, it's a conventional technology to get the pressure we need with the compressors. But specific compressor for hydrogen is not the same, it's not the same cost manufacturing for a year than manufacturing 4,000 compressors in a year. So it's more a question of volume, of economy of scale, than a question of technology, but also the technology is going to improve the efficiency for sure. But the thing I think is more important, the quantity, the number, the volume around the world, competitors more than technology.
Good. Does that answer the question, Patrick? Looks like it does. Maybe a follow-up question on that. You said you were looking at profitability on a 10 years scale, and we've seen that basically the cost of the hydrogen is about 5 to 6 times more than the cost of diesel today. How do you expect the price to evolve in the next few years? And what would you need to help accelerate the decrease or to make the hydrogen cheaper or more competitive?
For me, the most important thing is to put price to the carbon emissions. So if we want to decarbonize the industry, the economy of the countries due to climate change, we need to put price to the carbon. And also the hydrogen technology improve and is going to be a better price in the following years. The consultancy companies, they say that more or less in 7, 8, 10 years is the balance between the price of the natural gas and or diesel or others and the green hydrogen, no, in close or before to 10 years. But if it's going to be in 5 years or in 10 years, probably will be more due to the price of who is contaminating is going to pay than the other. So it's important to put price. Companies or industries are contaminating should be paid.
Indeed, so it's both a question of reducing the price of hydrogen, but also increasing the price of the alternatives that are heavy carbon emitters.
Yeah, and also from a technological perspective, there will be a roadmap of the electrolyzers with a decreasing electricity consumption and more density. So we will have more power with the same quantity of stacks because they will increase the intensity and also will reduce the electricity consumption and also the water consumption. And it's expected that in 2030, the price of the hydrogen will be competitive with the price of natural gas, and in 2050 will be better than that. So it's a matter of time that this happen. And also, as Enrique has mentioned, the price of electricity is one of the main components of the cost of the hydrogen. So if we reduce also the price of electricity, we will get better price of the hydrogen. So we have several items to justify the decrease of the hydrogen in a close future.
Indeed. Another question, and guys, feel free to ask your questions directly or type them into the chat box. You mentioned earlier that as a byproduct, you were getting oxygen. Is there any way to monetize that oxygen and to basically help improve your economics with that?
Yes, there is 2 outputs in the electrolyzer. And due to that, this is a pilot project of hydrogen. We are focused on hydrogen at the beginning, but also is in our following steps to use the oxygen in Majorca, for example. Now, but in the European, in the peninsula, not in the island. And why not to use this oxygen for hospitals in this COVID situation? We need oxygen for the hospitals. We need oxygen, for example, in water treatment. We need oxygen in fish farms, and is something that we are going to study in the following months. Our first input are that in some cases, that for example in Majorca, in an island, could increase the profitability of the project using the oxygen. Yes, so it's a possibility, and it's something that, in fact, the design of the hydrogen plant is putting on the drawings the place for the oxygen containers and to use the oxygen, but it's going to be a second step, a second phase in the project. Yes.
Thank you, Enrique. Clear. Any other questions from the group?
Hello.
People are being shy. I'll ask a last follow-up question then. You said so indeed trying to sell that oxygen to either hospitals or fish farms might be a way to increase profitability. How significant would that be? Like, you know, I don't know if we can talk percentages, like, but would that help you know, increase the profitability significantly for the, or is it really just a small aside, sort of a small plus?
We still don't have the information. The first study is a very early study, and the answer is that yes, invest in more equipment to put the oxygen in the pressure we need. The logistic is a very early study, and the answer is that yes, it's profitable. Do this extra investment in the project for the incomes, but it's still a very, very early study. So it's something that I'm not going to write still in any place.
No worries. Excellent.
Miguel, estás con el mute.
Sorry, I was saying that at this moment we will try to sell the whole production of the facility of hydrogen production, and in the next step, probably you will try to monetize the oxygen.
Yes.
Fair enough. One thing after
yes.
another.
The other thing is also to use hydrogen trucks. No, now in the first stage we are going to use conventional trucks, but in a hydrogen project, depending on when the truck manufacturers have ready the technology that is very, very close, we'll use hydrogen trucks.
Okay, very good. I'll put the Menti code here and the QR code, and while you guys answer the Menti questions, we can still take the last question that came in the chat box. So for Menti, you either go to menti.com with your phone or your computer. You type in the code here, 28226364, or much easier, you take your phone, you flash the camera to the QR code, and it should take you straight to the questions. And hopefully that's working. And maybe while you guys do that, I would really appreciate some quick feedback. And while you guys do that, let's take the last question then. So it's a very good question. Considering, also residential use, how do you convince people to buy a product that's still more expensive than the alternatives? What are the ways in which you're doing that?
Yeah,
Enrique, do you want to answer or do you want me to answer?
No, the answer is the same than other technologies. No, there are early adopters in every new technology that they are willing to pay more, in that case, for a new technology, for a hydrogen car, for a fuel with no emissions, but sure, in general, an industry, they are not going to pay the double or the triple for hydrogen. So it's clear that in this project we need these subsidies from public funds, but it's true that there is other value that, for example, hotels or other industries, they are thinking in paying a bit more, not a big more, but a bit more, yes, to put in his sustainable memories, for example, that they are decarbonizing in a percentage, they are using hydrogen, they are using local hydrogen, produce it in Majorca, and this is a first step. They are not going to change from one year to other all the energy, because the price is going to affect a lot in the profitability of a company. But step by step, yes, and is than the companies that are paying at the beginning a bit more to decarbonize and to fulfill the targets of sustainable compromises.
Let me, Enrique, complement your answer to Domenico, because this is a very, very interesting question. Because who is going to pay 10 more times the cost of the actual energy? It will be very, very difficult. But we have to know that the actual energy emits CO2, and we want to avoid the emissions of CO2. So there are many people and companies that are willing to pay more just to avoid the CO2 emissions. I remember the early 90s, people going through walking on the street with a big suitcase. It was a mobile phone, and those mobile phones at the very beginning, they cost the equivalent of 12,000 euros, and now you can have a mobile phone for 25 euros. So, but in that time, that the early 90s, there were early adopters that wanted to have the first mobile phone, and now there are a lot of people that they want to be the first hydrogen consumers. So the more early adopters we have, the quicker we'll be able to scale up the technology and to reduce the cost of the hydrogen for the end users of the energy. So I think that in probably 5 or 6 years, we will see the cost of the hydrogen being competitive against the actual existing energies that emits CO2. So we have to work on that and cross fingers and make more and more consumers adopt this technology. I think I'm sure that I know that this will happen.
Yeah, and also for especially big companies, there are investment funds that only invest on companies that complies with certain decarbonization goals. So if you have especially heat needs, you have to. It's difficult for you to achieve that goals, and hydrogen is the solution for that.
Yeah, and Majorca is a touristic destination, and a lot of tourists will demand sustainable destinations for their holidays, and they will want to stay in a hotel with no emissions, no CO2 emissions, and with very, very, very responsible attitude with the environment. So
this is the hotel that Caroline is thinking about.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see that.
And also depending on the end use, we have to distinguish different scenarios to achieve profitability, because, for example, for heavy mobility or mobility, it will come sooner than for other. That's another point.
Yeah, some applications will be competitive earlier than others.
Indeed. Hey, that is really exciting. I think we can look to a bright future and some carbon neutral holidays in Majorca pretty soon, thanks to your project. So that's really cool. And just judging by the pictures you've provided for the presentation, it looks like yeah, not a bad place for a holiday. So hey, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for your time at Acciona, at Redexis. Thank you, Andrea, as well, for your help. Very much thank you to all of you guys who joined us. I know also a lot of people will watch the recording later, so thank you to them. And I will see you soon at another meeting in the workstream. We have another webinar coming up in July, which will be in the APEC region, and invites for that will come out tomorrow or on Monday. With this, I wish you a great rest of your day, some very soon carbon neutral holidays someplace in the world, I hope, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.